Rory. Good to have you on the podcast. We always start off with a brief introduction of yourself and the business that you're in now, and then we'll take it from there.
Nice. Well, my name is Rory. I'm the founder of Redbox Mobile. But on a day like this, I've got to do the proverbial back shop. This is my back garden. So, but yeah, it'd be great if it was. Yeah. So I'm the founder of Redbox Mobile. Yeah, we're based out of London.
Before we go into what the business does now and what you're up to, you just want to take us on a quick tour of the career up until starting the business, and then maybe go into reasons like behind founding the business, whether that was spotting a gap in the market or anything like that, and then we'll go into what you're doing now.
Yeah, thanks, Tom. Yeah, so I had an illustrious career at it's probably the wrong word, but anyway. Yeah, so I spent 12 years at Vodafone. Before that, I was a chef. Albeit I never quite cut the Jamie Oliver skills. Yeah, founded Redbox back in 2013. And that journey, the setting up of the company, and it's a message to anyone that's in gainful employment that goes, hey, I want to go and set my own company up. It is one of those tasks that from the outset I can actually say that I don't think I properly worked up until I set my own business up. The levels that you go to as a founder and as something that you're trying to create yourself, it is not for the shy or faint-hearted. It is it's a very massive step, and it takes you to some extreme levels. But with setting your own company up, and stepping outside of the corporate, and I would say corporate luxury, but corporates have their own challenges. I don't dismiss anyone working hard at companies. They have their own challenges, but the freedom that you have to set your own business up is very enlightening. But it's not for the faint-hearted. The highs and lows, as heard on previous mentions on your podcast, Tom, they are seriously high and they're seriously low. Take you to a level that you're like, oh my God. But I'm sure you recognize some of those statements.
It's refreshing to hear that you're not just going to come on here and say everything has gone perfect and I'm a multi-billionaire that's built this successful company. It's good that you're honest about the ups and downs. Do you want to go through? We'll go starting the business. Actually, did you spot something there, or was it just a case of I want to run my own business, I'll just figure it out as I go?
So I set up Redbox. I was 12 years to the day, pretty much when I left Vodafone and set up Redbox Mobile. And the intention was, the business plan, was here's an amazing business plan. I'm going to sell the business in 3 years, open up London offices, and I'm going to hit the ground running because I've got all this experience in mobile, the better part of about 15, 20 odd years of mobile, in terms of its functionality in that space. And then in setting the company up, I had an investor at the time, and then the investor promptly left 2 weeks after the get-go of the company. I had to take all my redundancy money from Vodafone, keep the company going, and it was an incredibly sharp learning curve into the reality of being your own boss. You're accountable to yourself, your family, your mental health, all of those kind of things. And actually, it's so hard. There's no easy runs. A lot of people get lucky, but you've got to be in it to win it. And I set the company up. I started off, and I sold everything. I mean, literally every single thing that I possibly had any experience on, I sold. But actually, what really started to stick, and this is back in 2013, was the growth in something which I'm happy to put my hat on. I had a chap working with me who productized it, but this App Store Optimisation, or ASO as it's called, and for every 10 things or maybe 50 things I sold, ASO was clearly the front runner. So actually, the word to the wise in terms of setting up your own business, follow the money, follow the appetite, follow what your consumers are ranting and raving about. It might be a feature and a function that you have had sort of not had an oversight on, or not particularly focused on. But if you listen to what people are buying and what people are talking about, what people are liking about what you're doing, and follow that, and that's very much what I did. So I guess after about 3 months, I said, look, we're stopping everything and we're going to focus 100% as a business on App Store optimization and App Store marketing. And that was a real turning point. That was the right decision to become huge in the space of App Store optimization in a market that didn't exist. We built the market. We were out there talking to people saying, hey, do you know that you're one of 2 million apps in the App Store and nobody's going to find you unless you're at the top of the App Store? So a little umbrella about what that is there's assets inside your app that get you visibility. So when people search the App Store, the intent is ridiculous. They are there to download the app. They don't want to browse and look at content and other bits and pieces. So the appetite and the success back in 2013 was colossal. We'd transform accounts overnight. We got some amazing clients signed up really quickly. But we then started to discover that actually, in the world of advertising, you hear some monster budgets, 100 millions, 50 millions, and we were not seeing that. It was time and materials to do a set of App Store optimization on a client, and we would pick up 10 grand, and that was it. So the pot of gold wasn't readily available. It was actually the mass market. You wanted hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of apps to use the service. Inherently, that then brings in the problem, though, of, well, you need people or you need technology. And at that time, I was not a technologist. I couldn't build. So we were very much a hands-on people. So the early part of the company, the early part that I guess those first 6 years were really exciting, because we were onto something that was really, really great and so exciting. And SEO as a service, ASO was deemed to be as big, if not bigger, because the world moving to mobile. But the money didn't follow. So we had lots of clients billing 10 to 15 grand a month, and the cost of people to service those clients, it didn't really stack up. So we picked up investment well, and the highs were very much there. It was a good sale. The story was really lovely, but the money and the growth in that space just wasn't there. And actually, to an extent, it still isn't today, because it's a limited marketing practice. That was very much the early stages, though. We grew, but we didn't. You hear these amazing stories of people, and I have a lot of envy and a lot of respect for everybody in the space, where they hit the button, they go large, they're on this trajectory. I was on the trajectory, which is not the money trajectory. So yeah, it was a little bit annoying.
Do you think that the budgets that these companies have, is that due to the size of the companies that are doing it, or is it due to the awareness that they have of, this is a brand new thing? It's almost like the birth of the internet. Like they don't understand that what is possible to do, and you have to then go in and educate them, or you can actually do this.
Yeah, we spent an awful lot of time educating the marketplace, and actually the billings were, I mean, the biggest billing we had at the time would have been Wall Street Journal. So we would bill Wall Street Journal for in-app videos and screenshots and metadata and all this kind of stuff. But they would go and spend, I don't know, 100 million on marketing, and we would be picking up 100 grand. So the budget was never the issue. And actually, it was a bit of a double-edged sword. So easy sell, give us your money, we'll get you top of the App Store, yay, everyone's happy. But in turn, that then posed two problems. One, do they take it in-house? It's just not that important when it's not that amount of money. Even though it is very important, it's incredibly important as a marketing practice. It's essential now. Everyone does it. But because the CFO says, well, hang on a minute, let's cut that. We'll do that internally because it's only 50 grand or 100 grand. the client retention is tough. It still is tough today. So in answer to your question, two parts: budgets were available, but we were a very small percentage of the available budget. Sale was easy, but in terms of stickiness of clients was limited, because there's not. If you're taking 100 million from a company, they're going to listen to you and they're going to pay attention. You're taking 100 grand or 10 grand a year, they're like, okay, it's not that important.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a bit of transparency there.
Yeah. Okay, well, I'll come back to this topic in a sec, but I want to hear you mentioned like you weren't the technical person or the technical side of the business, so you have to then bring those people in. How do you go about? Because usually founders are bringing people in to take tasks off of them rather than create new roles, if you like. How do you go about managing that person when you're not the expert in that field and it's not just taking jobs off of you? How do you manage that person and then, I guess, measure success on those people?
Yeah, that's a really Harvard Business School question, but then you have a bit of a smack of reality with it. So, old Rory, as in 10 years ago, 6 years ago, something like that. I would place people with such high accolade and respect because they could do something that I couldn't do. So I'd be like in awe of them, and the behavioral relationship would be, I would be dependent on, I would bow, scrape, and I'm not saying I'm not that person now, but it is not a healthy behavior where somebody holds the keys to the kingdom for something that you are ultimately, it's part of you, and it is not part of anyone else. And they turn up to work, they work, and then you're like, oh my god, but this and that and the other thing, and they're like, well, it's a Saturday, and I'm doing something else, and that's really bad. But when it's your own beast, it is so important to you, and to be able to not do stuff. I will not put myself in that position anymore. I will not allow the business to be reliant on a single person. I will not put the keys into somebody else's pot, because ultimately there is no way that you can expect a person, and it's right. I'm not being dismissive of the people. It is not right to expect the level of intensity as a founder that you operate at to be shared by other people. And if they want to be, then they will be a co-founder, and then you don't have to worry about that because they are embedded at the same level that you're at. So in terms of people, from my experience, the majority of people are good people. Everyone wants to do the best that they can do. Everyone wants to turn up to work. And the limitations that you have on individuals is just the stake in the game. I mean, my management team now, I've had for a very long time. They are truly fantastic and brilliant people, and truly fantastic at their job. There is shares and other bits and pieces. They have skin in the game, but there's a mental shift. And I don't know if it's age. I don't know if it's appetite. I don't know if it's hard to put your finger on it, but the analogy I like to put it with is, if you're going to go to war, if you're going to go into battle, who do you want to have around you? Do you want the guys that are loyal, strong, committed, and are good at their job, or do you want the guy that's outstanding and fantastic at his job, but actually as soon as it gets a bit tough, he's like, dude, I'm out of here. So for me, it's very much the former. My team around me, I place a huge amount of trust in them on loyalty, care, respect. And I don't mean bound scrape to the great founder. I mean, they will speak to me in an open and honest and caring way. Caring is probably the wrong word, actually. They'll speak to me in an open and honest way, and will push back. But again, in choosing these people, you don't know until it gets hard. You don't know. And everyone interviews well, and the proficiency of people is great. But until somebody is really up against it, and you have that inherent fear, which is not a commercial driver. Fear should not be in business, but if you're a founder, it is, and you have to be able to live with it. So hopefully that answers your question, Tom.
Yeah, it does, and it's funny actually. I coach a rugby team, well, rugby league team up in the north, and that's exactly what we look for. It's a saying that a phrase that we use a lot is who do you want to go to war with? That's who's going to play. And
Absolutely.
that's
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly that.
and it's it's definitely similar. Like until you're 20 points down and stood behind the sticks, you don't know.
And in the world of, yeah, I have to remind myself of gratitude as well. The company I built 12 years ago has paid, has put food on the table, has kept a house over my head, has paid staff, it has looked after people. It turns up, and I have to remind myself that a lot of companies don't make it past the first year. And
Yep.
here I am 12 years in, the company has paid me consistently over that period of time. And we've had a number of failed acquisitions as we go through. But the piece that the message for, if you're new, or you're contemplating being a founder and you're contemplating setting up your own stuff, we all enter it with the dream to, choose the yacht or the island or whatever to cash out. But the biggest driver sits in two camps. One, unfortunately, is that fear. You have, it does get scary. You have to cope with it. You have to get up and you have to dust yourself off and you have to keep going. And nobody else, a good family will support you, but nobody else really will. So the first bit is to manage your fear as you go through these pieces. And the second, and actually I am in it right now, and we'll talk about that further on in the thing, is you have to be really passionate. And that's not a made up word, right? You have to feel genuine excitement about what you're doing. So when you rock up to a meeting, you're the most excited person in the room about what you are going to do and deliver to that company and to the people you're talking to. If you don't believe it, yeah, they will smell it, they will know it, and they'll go, yeah, If you feel it and you properly, and it comes out of you that you've got the thing, you've got the something, then, that is the key bit. So managing fear and being really passionate about what you've got and what you've got. And that passion can just be you. Yeah. The belief in yourself that you are the guy or the girl that can take this forward. If you, those two things is, if you're new and you're getting into this as a life thing. If you are Monday morning, in fact, forget Monday morning, your week's already started. Your Sunday night, if you're excited about what's about to kick off on Monday and you can't wait to start on the Sunday night, then you're in the right game. Because I'm a single founder. A lot of people have partners and other bits, and I partly regret not having a partner. Um, but but there's nobody else there, right? Your wife will say, "Hey, I love you," and if or your husband or whatever will say, "I think you're doing great." But at the end of the day, it's you standing and holding the fort. So fear, and having a genuine passion about what you're doing. Because if those two things, I always think, when I see these notes, people say, "Oh, I'm going to be an entrepreneur." Like, I'm not sure, Bex. You don't have that inherent. I think what makes a healthy entrepreneur is an inner belief, an unstoppable inner belief in the ability of what you're able to do, even when the chips are down and you're like, "Ooh, it's a bit sketchy." And that sort of comes back to my earlier point, which is when you're reliant on other people and you put too much value in their skill and their ability, and you then lose your confidence about what you are able and what you're capable of, and it's not a good place to be. For me, I have to be, well, it's not have to be, I feel really strong about the stuff that we're going. I can rock up to a meeting and own the room because I genuinely know what I've got is going to help and transform that business. And then they pay me at the end of the day, and I'm like, yeah, that's just a bonus. And somebody comes along and buys the company, hey, happy days.
Yeah, that's something that a few of the points that you mentioned of not many businesses make it past year 1, 2. So for founders, this is sort of a side point, but for founders that have been in business for 10, 15, 20 years, like you should talk about what you're doing. And that's what we're doing now in terms of like putting the content side of stuff to our lead generation and what we're doing. Like people want to know how you've kept a business going for 12 years, and further from that, how you've made a business thrive, or the low points that you've been at and then the high points that you've been at. People want to hear about that now. And
Yeah.
a lot of the people that I've had on the podcast are people don't want to listen to me. People already know what I'm trying to tell them. It's like, you've been in business for 10 years. Not many people do that. You need to go and shout about it now.
Yeah, I have I think the low points I think the low points are there's actually a bit of advice on this piece here. I did have, and I still have, people around me that are that I go to and I talk to about stuff that they're not in my world, they're not in my industry, but they've made it in whatever made it shape that means. And I would go and talk to them about this, and the biggest value that these guys and ladies have for me is statements like, "That's okay. I've been through this. This happened to me, and this is what, and you will be okay." The actual, "Oh, actually, what you need to go and do is find finance from this place and go and do this bit and sack that person." That's not actually the advice that is really that helpful, because you will find your own path from that. But to have people around you and mentors who are mentorship in different capacities. So one of these things that certainly come to light is the mental health piece. As the founder, your mental health is really important. You know, you're doing what you're doing for the benefit of you and your family and your growth, right? And if what you're doing is hurting your family and hurting your growth and psychologically destroying you, then perhaps you're not cut out to be an entrepreneur. And actually, you're probably awesome at being in a big company, and you can drive through and you can have all that security. So don't kill yourself trying to make stuff stick, because being a founder and starting your own company will kill you. Yeah, it will take you to levels where mental health is a constant. And if you haven't got mechanisms in place to make sure that you're okay, then you're going to hurt, and you're going to hurt the people around you, and you're going to hurt yourself and put yourself into a very difficult and dangerous place. And that's not what entrepreneurship is about. What entrepreneurship is about is making sure that you're okay, making sure that you either succeed or you don't succeed. But as you go through that process, you don't destroy yourself. And I do see a lot of people that embark on these journeys and these visions, and typically they're exactly like me. They step out of a beautifully comfortable job with big expense accounts and lovely cars, and then find themselves not being able to make a pay run in 2 weeks' time, and having to mortgage the house, and then having to do these other bits and pieces. And then they're psychologically shot, and then they start drinking and smoking and doing all the bad things, and then hurting their mental health. And some people are just not cut out for it. And obviously all of those things I've just stated, I did. It's not me sitting here preaching and singing from the hilltops about how clever and awesome I am, but I have gone through all of those things. But if you come back to those two pieces of advice: fear, manage it closely. Don't destroy yourself. Surround yourself with solid people, and be confident about what you've got. And we should potentially move to where the business has gone to now. So so selling the same thing for 12 years. Oh, police car go by. Selling the same thing for 12 years. You should have made it by then. Yeah, if you should have brought the CEO in. You should be sat in your yacht, and you should be doing the same bit. If you're still busting it at 12 years, trying to make the thing that you're selling work, draw a line. It's either a cottage industry, and you need to just put the team in place so that you can take what available money is off the table and nurture your life as you go through, and be comfortable with it. Or you get to where we're at, and the piece that I'm heading off on a flight tomorrow to Mobile World Congress to launch our AI agent process. About 7 months ago, 8 months ago now, maybe a bit longer, I I decided to immerse myself in artificial intelligence. And as I opened earlier in this webinar, in this podcast rather, I mentioned I'm not a technologist, but I can sit here today and I can comfortably say that over the last and I'll finish what just happened this weekend. I've built 42 modular context protocols, and these are service layers, technology service layers, API integrations, using keys, using API keys, using embedded software on my device. The coding that I've built websites, and I've built dynamic dashboards, and I've built intense growth hacking reports with actionable insights. And the freeing nature with what I've got right now, it is so powerful. It is just ridiculously powerful that I can sit in a meeting and I can speak with I'm reading this book, How to Build a Large Language Model from Scratch, so this wonders of artificial intelligence, the freeing nature of having the ability to open up simple things like being able to install Homebrew, sending a bash request, building out using terminal, and then implementing a robust tracking system, all being done by yours truly is, I mean, it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. And the stuff that so I was in preparation to meeting up with Apple. We're an Apple partner, and we're talking through our new design range. Um, and on Friday, I had my laptop on my desk, and I left the laptop, and then went off to bed. Woke up in the morning, and the central heating hadn't turned on because it had emptied the entire central heating on top of my laptop, destroying about 9 months worth of work. And that was a low moment. I woke up on Sunday with genuine fear because the nature of how I've built it, again, I'm not a technologist. I hadn't built it in the way that it should have been built, and a lot of the tech was sat on the device and local to my device and was lost. And there's fear, there's anxiety, there's worry, there's concern. All that time that I've built. So I spent all of yesterday, a lot of this morning, and a lot of last night rebuilding and using different services, and then reaching out to a couple of individuals in the team. But I've managed to fix it all on a brand new laptop, nice and shiny, and I've managed to get, I'm 75% on the way back there. But I did that. I wasn't my poor CTO being hounded by me saying, "What the hell have you done? It's not broken. I've got the Apple report. You're an idiot." It was me being, big guy upstairs decided that I needed a bit of a tweak in my mental state. And but here it is on a beautiful Sunday, as a Monday morning, with my laptop functioning as a brand new laptop, with my modular context protocols working, my large language models working, interfaces into everything functioning. And I did that, and so I can rock up to a meeting now, and I can sit with all levels, not just people of age or people of seniority, but people with knowledge, and talk about, you know, uh, um, development environments, talk about, updating to GitHub, talking about downloading the latest large language model, Sonnet 3.5, and its reasoning function. And that's cool. I'm 52, and I'm comfortable in the fact that my artificial intelligence understanding is right up there. And I'm immersed in it. And I come back to this point here, right? That if you don't believe in yourself and your ability to do stuff, yeah, it'll shine through. I genuinely am confident that I could sit with, Sam Altman, and say, hey, listen, I've been using OpenAI 4.5. Have you considered the fact that your Chat GPT custom models really don't interface that well with third-party APIs? I know you've got the schema available, but have you seen what Claude's doing? Have you seen what DeepSeek is doing? And having that genuine understanding and knowledge and passion about it, it's just cool. It's just very, very cool, Tom, and I'm very excited about it.
And you can tell that you're an action taker, not just somebody that likes to talk.
Yeah, that's right. My God, no, I have to. And the thing is, if I can solve the problem myself. So right now, the stuff that I built is POC, proof of concept, and the proof of concept is marvelous. It's not a robust, central heating proof environment that I could take to a a Wall Street Journal or a Zilch or a American Express or any of the client brands. And I'm glad your dog agrees.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just it's an exciting time to be alive. And I did think back about this bit where we did almost sell, and then that all fell through. But I'm not sure at the age of 52 that I don't think I would have the appetite to be as self-taught and knowledge up as I am on AI. And I think that's a really missed opportunity for a lot of people. A lot of senior guys out there that are like, oh yeah, I'll get the tech guy to do that. No, that's wrong, mate. You need to not do that. You need to get involved in it. And every single person in marketing, in sales, in every single job on this planet needs to get their heads around AI. And actually, as a founder, what I found happening was I went like this in terms of my ability and my knowledge, but that's no good. Okay, if I'm up here and the rest of my team is down here, that is not a good environment. I'm saying, hey, you can do this and this and this. Shut up, Rory. You're just annoying. So what we implemented in our business, and I would strongly suggest that anybody listening to this podcast, if you are not involved in artificial intelligence, you need to be involved in it. And that's not just a case of, spinning up a chat GPT and asking a question and then copying and pasting it. That's building artificial intelligence agents that are programmatic, that work and do things. Get yourself onto the, I listen to a lot of podcasts. There's the Artificial Intelligence Show. It's fantastic. We set up an AI council in Redbox to make sure that as we are building, we're in keeping with ISO standards, and that we are safe with our clients' data. We built in an AI academy so that the knowledge that I have and that the team is adopting spreads throughout the entire business. We set some really strong targets for the company to say, hey, imagine, and we call it Brian, imagine Brian turning up and that you personally have access to 300 Brians to do your job. What does your day look like? You get out to be more human. You get to go and walk and be in the park and talk to your friends about your weekend. You don't have to sit there and do stupid code or excuse me, or build Excel spreadsheets. You get the artificial intelligence to do that. So in implementing an AI council and an AI academy, the knowledge entirety across the business is growing. We are an AI first company. So if you sit down with a task, simple thing, can you set a meeting up with a friend of mine, blah, blah, blah. Why are you actually logging into your calendar? That is a bad use of your time. Prepare me a G sheet to, table the minutes from our call today and follow up actions, and then implement the research that needs to be done. Why are you accessing any of those environments? That is a bad way of working. So every single task that hits my desk, I stop, I build out playbook. What does Rory do to accomplish this task? And I build an AI agent. So these MCPs I was talking about, 47 of them, in fact, it's 41 now, they are task built services. So I have so much free time in my life now, but I don't, because I stack it with the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. But I'm not sitting there building stupid reports. There's
Yeah.
a dumb use of time. I'm not sitting there doing ASO research. I'm not doing, our lead gen stuff, and we should talk about this. A lot of that aspect has been built with AI now. It's such an exciting time to be alive and to be in business, and to have the foundation of a company that's been operating for 12 years is transformative in that regard.
Good. We're probably going to run over. I just want to check. I've not got anything until this afternoon, so I can keep going, and I'm enjoying this.
I'm good until 12.
12. Okay, let's keep going.
Oh, in fact, no, I'm good until 11:30 actually. As he quickly tweaks the time back.
Okay, let's go. I want to run through what the business is doing now, who you're serving, and stuff like that. Is there any specific projects that you want to talk about that I can set you up with?
Yeah, I think we can just follow it through. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we can just carry on chatting it through. So because everything that I've just covered leads into what we're doing with clients. I've just got a cough though.
Okay.
Excuse me. It's stupid I didn't start with a glass of water. Anyway, so in terms of projects and where our business is going to and what we're doing. So I think that I'm on we as Redbox Mobile are on the precipice of, you hear the word game changing being mentioned, right? And it annoys me actually, because I use it all the time. I'm annoyed at myself. And you hear transformative being mentioned, and you've heard the word growth hacking. So typically, client like Zilch, or a client like, we've got a lovely trivia app that's hit the deck, or Amex, or Wall Street Journal, the Times, or we've got some just phenomenal clients. They will give us a budget and give us a set of KPIs, and we go away and we build the campaign and we build the product and we build the service, and then we run it, and then we circle back and we go and have a week, and then there's another week, and then we say, hey, this is what we've built, and then there's a meeting, and then there's, oh, okay, and can we have some more budget for this? And a month's gone by before you've gone through that process, and then you're in your second month. So the algorithm takes 48 hours to update, and blah 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 blah. Now, a lot of agencies hide in that space, and we did, okay? But that is not an environment that we are now moving into. So with growth hacking, you set out your store of your KPIs, and I'll give you a live example. It's live right now. We built out metadata, and that's the thing inside the app that gets the app ranking at the top of the App Store. We then get Apple search ads to begin buying those keywords to then confirm and grow the account. And then we look at in-app events. A client downloads, plays the game 3 times, does a deposit, does whatever those things are. We're now moving that into hours. Yeah. So what used to take about 2 months SOW, statement of works, would take like 3 months, 2 months SOWs. We're moving that into hours. Okay. So we'll go live with the campaign. We will get our AI to interrogate and look at the data. And, if you go and sit in front of a marketeer and you say, hey, what happened in your app yesterday? They're going to call 3 agencies. They're going to call their MMP account, mobile measurement partner. They're going to call their agent. They're going to call their marketeer. They're going to then get the CRM guys involved. That's not how you work nowadays. What happened yesterday? 3 reviews came in saying they like the new feature. 3 reviews came back in saying they don't like this bit. Your best performing channel was this one. Your best operating category was this one. Here's a set of recommendations that we're going to implement now. And then you're going to implement it. What happened yesterday? Okay, that happened yesterday. This worked. This didn't work. Okay, let's continue. So this growth hacking that we're doing now is like having 3,000 agencies with employees working across all of these things, looking at granular detail in its most transparent format, and making decisions that are intelligent based, not automated. Okay. So if you get a conversion rate of a really obscure foreign language Arabic character keyword, and you can't pay somebody to look at that bit of information and make an adjustment, because you're only going to make I don't know, £50, but you're paying the person £150 to make that decision, right? So what we're building is this, what we built and what we're building is this ability to look at a micro level, these micro adjustments, these micro changes with artificial intelligence. Yeah. AI's read the internet. It's read the whole internet, and these models are having to build models to teach themselves. So in terms of access to the data, I mean, we just give it to the AI, it runs the data, it runs the intelligence, it makes intelligent recommendations. And as the human, you still have to be at the helm. You still got to guide it and run it. But the changes that we're making on these micro changes, we'll put in 50,000 changes to a campaign. It would have taken my team 3 months to build 20 changes. So that is where the business is moving to now. And it's not just Apple, it's not just iOS, it's not just Apple search ads. It is the entirety of the marketing place. And actually, we're not limiting this to marketing. Yeah. So if you have procurement, if you have supply chain, if you have finance, if you have HR, these agents that we're building will service those as well. They're knowledge agnostic. It doesn't matter what the task is. If you are able to write a playbook and implement that playbook, then it's just a really incredibly exciting place to be in. And but it's brand new. Literally, we did our first. I mean, here's the example. On Friday, I'm sitting with the client saying, "Hey, look, here's a nice dashboard for you." And they're like, "Oh, can you make it do this?" "Yeah, sure." "Can you make it show this data?" "Yeah, yeah, done." And I'm doing that live on the call. And I'll wrap up on this piece here. All right. We don't see this as the end of where we're at. We see this as the start. If you can imagine us, you pretend you're the client, and on here, there's a third screen, and that is the AI agent that we've invited to the meeting. That is, we're talking about what was the KPI achieved yesterday. And on the right-hand side of the screen, it is showing you live and in real time what the data is that you're currently seeing and that you're interrogating it. And they're like, okay, well, let's accelerate the budget for this month and push that channel. And that action happens live whilst you're on the call. And you then finish the call with no follow-up because the AI agent is doing that. That's where we're heading, and that's just properly transformative in terms of how to survive and grow in the world of AI.
Yeah, so like like I said, no follow-up, whereas follow-up could be you could be out of office for a week and then you've got to wait 2 weeks, and then you've got I don't know, sign-offs from other people that weren't on the calls and all that. So you're taking projects that could take a few months to even get going, and they're happening live.
And agencies, me included, we've lived being able to hide because of just life and being human for a long time, and every other agency on the planet, but those times are no longer, and they will change, and they're not going to be around if your agency. And also, I'm of the mindset that we share the knowledge with the client. Look, client, this is what I've done. This is what I'm able to do. You can also do this. Go away and implement these changes. We don't hold the keys. We're like with the client. We say to the client, "Hey, client, you guys take these, implement it into your service and your business." By the time they've gone through that, we are already ahead. And you've got generative artificial intelligence on the horizon. There's 5 stages. Stage 1 was Chat GPT, in its basic form. Stage 2 is reasoning, can it think? Stage 3 is AI agents, as in go and do the work for me. I don't need you as a human to do it. Stage 4 is super level intelligence, where it's cleverer than a human. And stage 5 is organizational. So there's a whole organization running in an AI environment. We're at stage 3, and that's happened over the last 7 months. And they haven't. I mean, 4.5 out of OpenAI is the closest we're seeing to generative artificial intelligence, and it's really impressive. But we haven't even touched the surface of what the capabilities of chat or stage 1 as organizations. Nobody has. We're getting close to the reasoning now, and we're getting close to the agent stuff, but we still haven't even touched the surface. So the journey that we're heading on in AI is it's just so freeing. It's wonderful.
Definitely. And we're gonna have to do this again in 7 months and see where we're at.
Absolutely. I'll be bang on that curve to and I'll show you some of the live stuff as we screen share and we'll go through. Yeah, very, very cool.
Maybe it won't even be me interviewing you. It'll be one of my agents.
It won't even be me on the other side, Tom. I'll have my agent doing it for me.
Rory, really, really great insights, and I can see. I think I said to you on the first message that I reached out to you, actually, I saw some of the videos that you did at the back end of last year, and you need to be out there more.
Yeah, it's one of those pieces, and I quite like having the whole chat on the video and everything like that, but it's so nerve-wracking. I find these things so terrifying where you're trying to do a TikTok or you're trying to do, because you put your heart and soul out there and someone goes, "Oh, you're a bit stupid, aren't you?" But you're like, "Oh god." But to coin Joe Rogan, never read the comments. Post it, move on. So yeah, maybe I should adopt some of that and being less egotistical. Yeah, very
Definitely.
good.
If people want to reach out to you or look at what you're doing, where can they find you?
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm very much on the format. You can, if you want to phone me, phone me. My telephone number is 079 2000 1000. You want to email me, I'm Rory at redboxmobile.com. I'm on LinkedIn at Rory at Redbox Mobile. And I do have Twitter and the other bits, but I can't remember them. Maybe I should put them in the
That's fine.
Tom.
Yes, we'll do it. We'll get your agent to come back to us. And
Get my agent. Book a session with my agent.
Yeah.
I want to go on the Joe Rogan podcast, sit there and or a Havana cigar.
Perfect. Rory, thanks for coming on. Well, like I said, we'll definitely do this again in a few months' time.
That sounds awesome, Tom. Stay true, and I love your podcast, and we'll be in touch, man.